Thank you for listening to Stories from the Shed. My name is Adam, and with me again this week, a man whose life's motto is, if you can't be good, be bad. Jake, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right. How was the week?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. It was busy at work. I'm not going to lie. I worked 6 to 6-ish pretty much every day. I came over the other day to watch the documentary of the topic we're going to have this week. That was about the extent of my excitement.
Yeah, you've had an exhausting week.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I'm proud of you. You got it on the third try this time.
Well, yeah, it's usually how it goes, about 3 or 4 tries here on the intro.
Yeah, typically I'll have to delete a couple different tries, or we'll just record it and I'll edit it out, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So I had an all right week. Being, Christmas kind of week, sort of week.
Kind of.
It's weird this year, but
yeah, Christmas Eve is on a Monday. That's a very odd day for Christmas Eve. I feel like I don't know about any of you guys.
So we've got an interesting kind of setup here today.
Yeah, we got 4 mics. We got 2 guests on for you guys this week. This should be special.
Yeah, so we're gonna hope things don't get a little over crazy here. We'll try to keep control here, try to keep order of the story. But
well, we're doing good so far. We're 1 minute and 12 seconds in.
Sure. So today we're bringing on my wife Sarah. How you doing, Sarah?
Hi.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, I'm originally been married for 3 years, 2 kids.
How do you do it? How do you deal with him?
Life gets crazy.
It is so hard to deal with him on the podcast. How do you deal with him in real life?
He is the biggest sweetheart ever.
Oh. Oh.
I think I get 5 out of 5 skelly fingers.
You're doing better than the beer.
That's right. But this is pretty good. We'll tell you a little bit about that later.
And to my right, we have another Sarah.
Hi.
Hi. What's up?
Nothing much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I work in tech support, and I have a cat whom I enjoy dearly.
Oh.
He's pretty cool. He's kind of a dick, though.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He was kind of nice to me the other night, though.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
Yeah, like playing video games and sleeping.
So where you from originally?
I'm from South Carolina, and I moved up here when I was about 5, and I've been here ever since.
Excellent. So how was your week?
It was long.
Yeah.
Yeah, working in tech support, I imagine it doesn't take much.
Yeah, no, it's you really learn about people when you find out just how lazy they are when they're very forthright in telling you what to do.
I believe it.
And not only that, but they want you to do it for them.
Oh, I believe it. That just epitomizes lazy when they want you to do it for them.
All right. So what are we doing today, Jake? What's our topic?
Well, first of all, we're going to rate our beers. What are we drinking, buddy?
Yeah. Well, we are drinking from my wife's choice. We have Sea Dog's Wild Blueberry.
Do you have an awesome description to read from the label?
Let's see what we got here.
Beer with natural flavors added.
And
brewed by Shipyard Brewing, South
right.
Burlington, Vermont.
So you know it's good. Excellent. I think, what do we give this?
I give this 4.
Giving it a 4?
I'm giving it 5.
Ooh, a big 5. Ding, 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 ding. I'm giving it a 4 myself, though.
I think I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
All right. So
Okay.
overall, it's a 4.25.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Great.
Okay.
Excellent. So I recommend this. I think this would be good at a barbecue. I can see this going down good with, in the summertime with a burger.
I could see this doing really well at like a restaurant with a couple friends too. Nothing too heavy. You can have a couple of them and still be okay and have a good time and whatever.
For sure. It's doing
Kinda like
damn
what
good.
we're doing right now.
Damn good in this shed right now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
like
going
50.
to Gridiron.
Oh, that place is so good. Mm-hmm. It is like 50 something out here right now. It is December 21st, 2018, and we are in Maine. It is 50 some shit outside.
Yep.
I cannot believe how nice it is. I can see all of the lawns everywhere. You guys, it's almost Christmas, and it's green. I love it.
It's enjoyable.
I love
I'm
it.
pretty happy about it, actually.
Been very mild.
Yep. It's great.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's other than the rain that we've had today, the shed's kind of wet.
Yeah, that's all right, though. We don't have to run the heater, so you don't hear the noise in the background.
No one's going to get a bloody nose because it's humid as hell in here.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised we haven't heard Dino.
I know, right?
Being so warm.
Wake up.
Nothing.
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 Screw him.
Dick.
So anyways, today...
This is the 4th time we invite you! 5th time! Ridiculous!
Are you going
Sorry.
to be okay?
No.
Okay.
I'm insulted.
Long week, I guess.
Yeah.
I get it, Dino. I understand.
Is it weird that today feels like the longest day ever, even though it's actually the shortest day of the year?
It was a long
Is
day.
it the shortest day of the year?
Yeah,
really?
it's winter solstice. Yeah,
Oh,
it
no
was.
shit.
Yeah, it just felt like it dragged on forever.
It really did.
It sucked.
It really did.
Of course, it had to be a Friday.
Well, of course.
It's like, why not?
I spent the better half of the day in another department today. It was slow. I had to stand around and look busy, and I don't like to do that. I don't know about you guys. You were busy as shit,
I was
Sarah.
very busy. My day started at 5 o'clock this morning. Got the kids ready, took them to their schools, went cleaning, came home, let the dogs out, and
Went to work.
straight to work.
Yeah,
And now I'm here.
when I walked in and I got that pizza earlier, you were out straight.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
We were super busy.
Yep.
All right. So why don't we, before we lull everybody to sleep with our boring shit,
Sorry, guys.
why don't we get to...
We're just letting us know we're letting them know we're normal people.
we're normal. Normal, that's for damn
We
sure.
wear human skin.
Yes, agreed. As opposed to alien skin.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you.
Sometimes
Sometimes.
you can wear alien skin.
It's true.
It's true.
True story.
Okay, sorry, Adam.
No, it's okay. Jeez. I don't even... Do I start now? I mean, what do we do?
Sorry.
Somebody else start.
All right.
So anyways,
Let's read this word for word.
not exactly.
No embellishment, no dramatics, anything. We'll
Right.
just read it as dry. As
No.
I don't
It's
know.
there's we have a timeline, but there's a lot.
All right,
Somebody else
sorry.
fucking start.
I'm sorry. All right. Our topic this week is an interesting one. Maybe you guys have heard of it. Back in 2009, there was a lady named Diane Schuler, and she was involved in a head-on accident going the wrong way on the New York freeway. And she had a bunch of kids in her van, and everyone in that accident, unfortunately, passed away. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about her. We're going to run down a timeline of her events for the day. We're going to talk a little bit, speculate a little bit about what got her to that point, where exactly she might have misstepped, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a different story. It's kind of, I don't know. When we watched the documentary, I'm sure most people have seen that. It's on Amazon Prime right now. And it's kind of hard because it's, there's some facts, but then there's also a lot of speculation from the family and from, people in the community and others that are involved. So I guess we'll kind of take it, piece by piece, and we'll kind of look down all these different avenues. So to kind of start off, Diane Schuler's husband, Daniel, wakes up and cleans his boat. And this happens around between 5 and 6 a.m., and they're at the Hunter Lake Campground in Parksville, New York. And it's, watching the documentary, it looks like just any normal campground that you've ever seen. It's just dirt roads, line up.
Very
They've got,
similar to Beaver Brook.
yeah, another great place. If you guys ever, people in Maine or anybody else ever in Maine,
Yeah.
do some camping, that's a good place to check
Like
out.
if you go
Kid
further,
friendly.
like north of the city, like it becomes more like here.
It
Like,
does.
because it's just similar environments.
Right.
Yep.
So you can almost kind of relate to at least the setting, because it kind of, watching the show, it kind of made me.
Yeah.
How far is that out from New York City? You can keep. I'm going to look that up. I'll let you.
Okay.
continue,
Yeah.
but
You
I'm
look that up and you
curious.
let us know.
Yeah, I'm
because I'm kind of
curious.
curious too. But so he does this for about an hour, and around 7 a.m. in the morning, Diane Schuler wakes up, and then she wakes her children up. She's got she wakes her children up. She's got Brian, that's her 5-year-old son, and her daughter Erin, who's 2. She also has with them camping on this weekend, niece Emma, who's 8, Allison, who's 7, and Kate, who's 5. So they had their hands full, I'm sure, all weekend.
5 kids.
5 kids. I mean, we go camping.
At
We
a
bring our
campground.
kids camping with us, and
Sometimes we have our hands full. We also have 2 dogs with us, and sometimes it can get a little stressful.
It's like having 4 kids.
Yeah.
well, with the barking and all that. So no doubt it was probably a stressful weekend. So I just kind of wanted to say that to kind of keep that in mind. I would imagine, Jaka, this would be a pretty stressful weekend for them.
Yeah,
all
I
these
would
kids.
imagine.
Yeah. So they kind of clean up. They pack up the camper.
Get the kids ready to leave.
Yeah, they've got 2 vehicles with them. They like we do. They pack the camper up. They clean it up a bit. They close it down. I assume they close it down, or maybe it's a tow away. I don't really know. But
So, just to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Parksville, New York to New York City, New York is about 2 hours. So it's about 2 hours outside of New York City, just to put that geographically.
Yeah, and relatively speaking, like with New York City, that isn't really too far.
No, that's really not. You figure you
No.
probably sit 2 hours in New York City traffic.
Yeah.
You know?
well, especially to get
Yeah.
away,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it looks beautiful out
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
it's
upstate New York
gorgeous.
is just absolutely beautiful.
And it's
Yeah.
not even really that far upstate either, but just to think there's a campground that close, it must be really nice out there.
And it's really like wooded, and it just gives you the same as Beaverbrook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
people who like come up here from like around that area would say that it's really similar.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you kind of get that vibe just looking at the documentary. But that morning, so they kind of start. I'd imagine they, like they said, they packed up. They loaded the stuff. Like the laundry and the stuff like that to be washed and to be maybe brought back into the house and put away. That's loaded into Diane's car, I think, for the most part, where Daniel is the one that, where Daniel, I think, just takes the camper because they go their separate ways.
Yeah, her husband takes the truck and the camper with the dog, and he takes off, and Diane loads up the van and gets into the van with the children.
Now, it sounds like the family, I think they leave at, it's around 9:30 a.m., right? That's about when they leave. So, they clean up for a while, they take off. And so that's kind of how that goes. So after they left the campsite, that was approximately 9:30, like I was saying. They reached Liberty, New York at 9:56, which is pretty precise. This is Diane, at least. Diane and the kids. They arrive at a McDonald's. There's a security video that shows the children eating and playing. It's one of those McDonald's
The play
playlands.
place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those, And so I don't know how long they were there for. A little while. Actually, it says here when they leave. But anyway, so more on a informative note, the cashier doesn't notice anything different. Doesn't notice anything bizarre about her.
Yeah,
or,
she's like acting normal.
Normal.
yeah, about as normal as a woman with all those kids could
Kids
act
could
in a
act, yeah.
friggin' McDonald's Palace Playland kind of place.
Yep.
So at that time, they eat their, I'm assuming, breakfast, they play. But at 10:33 a.m., Schuler and the kids leave the McDonald's. Then they go to a nearby gas station. This is at 10:46. And she asked the cashier, the attendant or whatever, if they had some kind of painkillers, And there's actually a video. I don't know. Did you?
Yeah, she's walking in and she's acting normal, just looking around the store, and she had exchanged some words with them, and then because they didn't have the painkillers that she was looking for, she ended up just leaving.
Yeah. And the video didn't look weird at all. I mean,
No, she pulled a U-turn because the way she pulled in, she had come in from the street and she pulled into the gas pump as if she was going to get gas. When she was pulling out, she just pulled a U-turn and went around another gas pump, and it didn't look suspicious. There was no one at that other gas pump. If you really wanted to be picky, she might have gotten a little close to the gas pump, but there was no one there. You try to make use of the area you have, and if you have the good turning radius, why not use it?
yeah. But I think what you're trying to say here is that what she did wasn't bizarre. Her driving was
not
a
at all.
normal type of
Yeah, not at all.
pull
Anything
in.
that you and I would have done.
Just a pain in the ass that takes a pump that doesn't need it.
Yep, exactly.
Just gotta
Well,
say that.
At my
I
work, a
know.
lot of people pull up at the gas pump and they'll just run in for smokes or cigarettes, and then they take off.
Yeah, I work with a dude like that, and I hate that. It
Douchebag.
makes me so mad.
That's a douchey move, but that's
The
beside the
D-bag.
point. D-bagger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that's beside the point.
A lot of people want.
They call it debagging.
A lot of people want to get their gas and get out of there, so it's kind of an aggravation. When
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
parking spaces in front of the store.
So after they leave the gas station, they end up in the Middletown area. I guess there must be a town in New York.
I'd imagine.
Yeah. Jake, did you want to talk about that at all, or you want me to?
I'm enjoying you telling the story. I'm not
All
going to lie
right.
to
All
you.
right, well.
I'm reading along here in my email.
All right. Well, anyway, so they hit the Middletown area, right? Now at 11:37 a.m. in the morning here, with Schuler's phone. Okay, so just kind of picture this: driving down the road with her phone. Emma calls her father, Warren Hance. Okay, he's at work in Floral Park. This must be another town. It says in a 47-second conversation that they may be late. Schuler speaks to Warren, says nothing worrisome. So far, everything's kind of stayed according to plan.
Like
Okay,
normal.
Okay, so who is Emma in relation to Diane?
Her niece.
That's her
It's
niece.
her niece.
That's
It's
her
her
oldest.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
She's 8.
8 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
Listening. I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, anyways, did you want to tell us? I guess I'm going to keep telling you guys. So between 11:30 a.m. and 12, around noon, a red minivan is seen being driven aggressively on Route 17 on Orange County, a witness says.
Oh,
So-
well, I mean, she's got that V6. You got to take advantage of that power.
What kind of vehicle? It's a Windstar, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a 2003 or a 2004 Ford Windstar. It's red and it's got that gold trim on it.
Perfect vehicle for
A soccer mom.
soccer mom or
Yeah.
Going
She-
camping.
you know,
yeah, toting
Yeah.
a bunch of kids around.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Did she borrow that vehicle?
That was her sister-in-law's.
Sister-in-law's,
I believe.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
Warren
Just so they could
Hance's wife?
Yeah.
Well, wait. Because I don't know if... Okay, so Diane is Emma's niece and Warren Hance is Emma's father. I'm just trying to like...
Diane is the aunt of Emma.
Of
Right,
Emma, correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Emma and the other 3 girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
Hance must be
So Hance must be Diane's brother-in-law.
yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
All
Because
right.
it's Warren Hance's wife and Diane are, I would imagine, sisters from what I'm gathering here in terms of like last name association.
Right. That's how that would go.
Yeah.
So what happens here is so she starts driving aggressively. Now, 15 minutes later, at approximately 11:45 a.m., another witness sees a woman who looks like a woman who's dressed kind of like Schuler, because I guess this information comes after the fact. She's wearing black long sleeve T-shirt, short pants, bent over. She's bent over, vomiting along Route 17. Now, watching the video, this is at is this at like a pullover on the highway kind of a thing?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was like a pullover.
Is it like a
Yeah.
park and ride type of thing?
Yes.
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
Kinda,
you know,
what-
driving down the interstate or turnpike, excuse me.
Yep.
And you got your pull off.
Yeah, and I think there's like a little convenience store. You know, like we have
Yeah,
here,
well, yeah.
you know, in Maine on the 95, you know, you have...
Yeah.
Gas
On the
station
95, are you from
food.
Maine or California?
Jake,
I know.
when you and I traveled, we started seeing that stuff around Connecticut, like where you
Yes.
could just kind of like dip in and like all the gas pumps were like diagonally oriented just
Yes.
for like, you know, zip in, zip out. It
Yep,
was like one
nice
of
and
those
easy.
things because for, you know, up here, it's a little bit more of a traditional gas
Yeah.
station.
Right.
So they're at one of these kind of places, and there's another witness. I think it's a married couple. They witness that. They see a woman, she's kind of hunched over, and one of these, you know, they're in there doing whatever, but they see her kind of hunched over and appearing to be sick. No, I don't want to say she vomited because there's no... From what I see, there's no sign that she vomited. Did you see anything, Sarah?
No, they didn't. They didn't see her vomiting. They just saw her bent over as if she was about to be sick.
Now, was it actually her, or was it just a woman that looked like her? Because that's been speculated that it was that it's just someone that looks like her, and I'm not saying that it wasn't her or it was her, but I'm curious. Because is it proven that she was there?
Well,
They were pretty sure that it was her.
yeah.
You know, after this all came out and they saw everything on the media.
Because if you know, they were interviewed and they were asked, like, if you knew this would have happened or knew what you know after the accident, would you have approached her and asked her what was wrong?
And you got to keep in mind,
Yeah, it's easy it's easy in retrospect.
and it's one of these old kind of shitty vans. I mean, not to be a dick, but it's one of these old shitty vans that you would maybe recognize. You might be like, yeah, that rust bucket, ugly color thing. You know?
Well, yeah, maybe in 2018 it would be an old shitty van, but it's only 5 or 6 years old in 2009.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
So maybe
this is in July of 2009 that this happened, and it was a 2003 or 2004, so it couldn't have been in that bad a shape. And I'm saying that knowing the Northeast winters and how they treat the roads, okay? I have a 23-year-old car, and that shit is a rust bucket.
Yeah. So, but either way, I kind of get the feel that they were pretty confident that it was her. So I'm gonna assume.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with them. I think.
So we'll
on this,
assume
yeah.
that it was her.
Yeah. You Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was. Hey, they were confident. So. What ends up happening is, after that, she takes off down the ramp to get back on the on 17, and she begins again zigzagging in and out of traffic. Now, a few minutes later, at 12:08.
Now, is she driving down the right side of the road the correct way?
At this time, she's driving in the correct lane, in the correct direction,
But she's just like darting in and out of traffic, like trying to race car it.
She's like trying to weave.
Incredibly aggressive is how I would say.
A witness said that when she was swerving into each lane, they could see the heads of the children being jerked back and forth.
And if New Yorkers are going to say that this is aggressive driving, it was fucking aggressive driving.
Yeah, fuck you, New York.
Like that. Jesus.
Thanks, Adam.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive podcasting.
Yeah, I'm aggressive like
God.
Diane Schuler's driving. I'm just kidding, New York. We love you.
We do.
And
We
Diane
do.
Schuler.
I will be honest, your New York City traffic is awful, though.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anyone that would disagree with me there.
It's
I
true.
have never been.
Don't.
Yeah, no. Do you remember we paid friggin' $18 or whatever it was to go through the fucking tunnel? That was ridiculous. And it
You
went
did-
from like 12 lanes to 2, and I had to piss. I legitimately wanted to get out and piss on a car. And this is the last rant I will have this podcast, I promise. Because I've heard some feedback that I rant too much, and I'm sorry.
So, crack me up.
Shut up.
So
I want to
let's see
rant
here.
so bad.
Well, here I'll give you something to maybe think about. Okay, as we progress through here, we're gonna get to a toll here, and I think. Do you remember the price of the toll?
$18 fucking dollars.
But anyway, so when we get to that,
It's expensive.
give me a second to get to that. Give me a second here. So at 12:08 p.m. Okay, Jackie Hance, mother of Emma Hance, Emma, Allison, and Katie, the three girls, right? She calls Schuler's cell. They speak for less than 2 minutes, but nothing seems strange. Everything seems normal at that
And she
time.
speaks with Emma.
She speaks with
daughter.
Emma. Yeah. Now at 12:13 p.m., the van goes through the Harmon Toll Plaza. And how much is that, guys?
I have no clue.
You're gonna fucking find out.
Certainly.
I'll find out.
The fucking pole. The toll.
The pole.
I think was it $18?
Okay, but
Is that the one?
They're
what's
expensive.
what was the plaza?
Harriman. I said it wrong. I said Harmon. It's Harriman. Harriman Toll Plaza. They had in the Slotsburg. Hakim die Slotsburg.
Anyone have a new MacBook they want to donate?
Yeah, we'll take it.
This thing is shit.
Shit, we'll take a few beers too.
Can I
while
have a
you're at it.
hug?
$1.25.
$1.25?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Hey, they're
not too
reasonable.
bad. Yeah.
All right, well, go to New York.
Yeah.
All right, that's not that bad.
What is the one in Portland?
That is-
here?
that-
175?
$2.25.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Something like that. It's enough. It's still not an excuse to leave your phone.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
we'll get to that. So what happens is that where she? I think she leaves it at a little.
She
bit,
left it at a toll plaza.
I think she leaves it a little ahead.
Oh,
I think
right.
I think
Wasn't
we're gonna
she
get to
seen
that.
pulled
But
over?
I think we're gonna get to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
don't-
rushing.
I don't know though. I know there's a point where she is. She's seen and she leaves her phone somewhere. I don't know if we've gotten to that yet. But I know
It
there
must
was a
be
point where
close.
she did leave her phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. I think that there's a few more phone calls here. Anyways, we'll kind of get back to it. But so between 12:15 and 12:45, witnesses see a red van with children driving by a dark-haired woman, weaving aggressively through traffic, just going in and out of lanes and blowing her horn, just bang, 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 just in and out. You
That
know?
sounds like me when I get someone that cuts me off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just not something that's normal to do with
5 kids in the car.
5 kids in your
No,
car.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're in the Slotsburg area. Okay.
Can I just say something in general?
Of
You can
course,
edit
yeah.
this out if you want.
Yeah,
but
please do.
I just as a sort of feedback, wouldn't it make sense to give a general description according to photos and stuff like that at the beginning of the podcast, just to sort of help correlate all these witness reports and stuff like that?
I guess elaborate a little bit. What do you mean?
Well, at the beginning, it's we've got this woman, age mid-40s. This is what she looks like. She had this when she was wearing on that day. like you kind of want to. I feel like you'd want to corroborate this a little bit more by entering with what she looks like and what she does.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
Well, you share the beers and your ratings, or how many fingers you give, honey.
Yeah.
So we should put pictures and images of the story we're telling to give them more of a.
I think you know what, Sarah, you got a good idea, and you know what we can do instead to kind of go with this. Like you're saying, why don't we just throw that, maybe throw some images on the Facebook page. That way people can put some faces to this story.
Well,
Yeah,
just
right.
like Ayla Reynolds.
And you
share
can like
those.
do a quick description on on the actual show and stuff like that, and you can just be like, this is what she looks like and stuff like that. And yeah, you have a reference. Like
to
it
paint
helps.
a picture.
Yeah,
Right.
Like I said, it just helps corroborate all the accounts and makes it into a solid story.
When we post our episodes, we'll just start launching pictures.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So
Look at that live feedback right on the show.
right
I
on the
like
show,
that.
I love it.
I like
love
that.
it. Don't even have to
Perfect.
check the email.
Yeah, right. And we don't even have to edit that out because that's
So-
live constructive feedback, and I like it.
Yeah.
I like that shit.
So we'll start doing that. So, anyways, kind of pull ourselves back into the story here. Now between, let's see here. Another, okay, we can cut that out. Now they're in the Sloatsburg area.
No, I want to leave that fake laugh in it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Made you lose your spot, didn't
yeah.
I?
Here.
Okay, now we're definitely gonna have
I
to
don't know
cut
where
it.
I'm at.
Oh, what the hell?
I think I'm there.
Well, we got through.
You're in the Sloatsburg
weaving aggressively through traffic, straddling lanes, blowing the horn. Okay, so she goes through the Harriman to Sloatsburg toll plaza, I'm assuming, or whatever that is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then from here on, one witness sees her pulled over just north of the thruway service area in Sloatsburg. A woman fitting Schuler's description sits on the guide rail and appears to be sick. Another witness says the pulled over minivan enters the highway and begins tailgating him aggressively. The van unsuccessfully tries to pass the shoulder and then blows its horn for a mile straight.
Wow.
Sounds
That's
familiar.
yeah, a little bit. That sounds very aggressive.
I mean, if you saw that, you'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I mean, I followed people with my horn blowing for a solid 5 minutes. So, I now that I'm hearing that out loud, I'm not a good person.
that's not normal, Jake.
No, it's not, and I'm sorry.
You psycho.
Yeah,
What
sorry.
is that gonna do for you?
It's gonna get my ass pulled over, is what it's gonna do. I already have enough problems. I don't need to get pulled over again. So the witness pulls into the Sloatsburg service area and heads for the McDonald's. The van follows and heads towards the truck parking area and then drives over a grassy area into car parking. So not only is she driving aggressive, she's driving recklessly. She's driving off-road. She's driving through grass to get to parking areas. Something's very clearly wrong with her.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows when this was? She got to the thruway at
Shoot us
somewhere
in-
between 12:15 and 12:45 in the afternoon.
But was seen at 11:37 driving erratic.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
that's
she's
when
been
it started.
driving. She's been driving erratic for a good hour.
Yeah.
At this point.
So there's been something wrong here for a
Yeah,
little while.
exactly. 12:55, a 17-second phone call from her phone is placed, and it is a wrong number.
I mean, we can speculate on that, Jake.
I would also even think that something was wrong, starting maybe going as far back as when she went looking for pain medication.
Who would think that something was wrong? The family?
No, I'm saying that.
Oh, at this point in the
Like
story?
looking at it
Yeah.
critically.
Okay, yeah, I see what
looking
you're
at
saying.
it
Yeah,
critically,
okay.
I mean, something's wrong when she first went to the gas station where she started. You asked for pain medication.
Well, it's like I don't even know if it was like an addiction or anything like that. Like I would say that I don't know if it was like an actual medical condition that
Yeah.
caused her to become slowly more erratic, slowly less reasonable.
I'm glad
Probably
you
some
bring that
sort
up.
of pain condition.
I'm glad you bring that up because we're going to kind of get into that. And
Yeah.
that's a possibility here. So, Jake, where are we at next?
3 minutes later, after that wrong number is dialed from her phone, she calls Jackie Hance at home and sounds out of it. The report states the 2.5 minute call ends abruptly. It appears that signal was lost. Maybe she went into. I haven't driven out on that highway, so maybe she drove into a tunnel, or maybe it's just a dead spot. Because let's be honest, there are spots in Maine that are just completely fucking dead. You go to like Popham Beach and you don't get service, and I don't care what carrier you have. it doesn't work.
Whenever I pass Sabattis Lake, I lose reception.
Yeah,
if
no
I'm
good.
going past CC's on Sabattis Street, I lose reception.
Yeah, sounds about right. Fuck you, Verizon.
Brought to you by U.S. Cellular.
No.
No, I'm just joking. I'm playing.
Anyways, we're at about half an hour here, so this might be a good point for a beer break.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, let's take
Gotta
one.
play
could
Spanish
definitely do
Flea.
this.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we should put Spanish Flea on this.
Yeah.
And we're back. Where do we leave off, guys? I think the last thing we talked about was the phone call ending. 2.5 minute phone call ending, lost signal, something,
Yes.
being in the woods, blah, blah, blah,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and
Yes.
Just a brief correction on something we discussed earlier regarding the relation between Diane and Warren. They are related. They're the siblings. They're brother and sister.
Brother, sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to clarify. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yep.
All right. So 12:58 p.m. 2.5 minute phone call ends abruptly. A lost signal. Jackie Hance, I'm assuming Warren's wife, Diane's sister-in-law,
Yeah.
reports that she sounds out of it. 1:01 p.m. 3 minutes later, Warren Hance arrives home as the call ends. He calls Schuler back, and they speak for about 8 minutes, and Schuler goes through the Tappan Zee toll at 1:02 p.m. Schuler sounds disoriented, and Emma gets on the phone, and Diane pulls over. Emma sounds upset, but says she is okay. She sees a sign for Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow. Diane gets back on the phone, and Warren tells her to wait where she is. At this point, you guys, I think there's something very clearly wrong with her.
So Warren tells Diane to stay where she's at, and he's going to
Correct.
come out and see what's going on.
Correct.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like kind of have to wonder like what happened at that point in time to cause that shift in, whatever mental state that she was in at that time.
Well, she was driving erratic, we said, for over an hour at this point, I think.
You kind of have to wonder like what triggered the children to be like, okay, like we have to make a phone call. Like
Yeah.
what shift in behavior happened?
You got a good point, because these are young kids.
Yeah, like young kids are very resilient, generally speaking. I'd probably say that it's something really bad had to happen in order for them to call and be like, hey, they're like, we're fine, but here's where we are. Like,
Yeah, something's
very
going on here.
nervous. They're very nervous.
Oh, absolutely. The phone call goes on for 8 minutes. At 1:10 p.m., someone in the minivan, we have no idea who, dials 4 wrong numbers in a single minute. Schuler leaves the phone neatly on a concrete barrier in the pull-off area just past the tolls and drives away.
Just to touch on something you said earlier in that statement, the 3 missed phone calls, even, that could have been her. I mean, because at this point, there's even the kids are saying that there's something wrong with her. Or it could have been one of the kids maybe misdialing a parent or something, you think?
Possibly.
But shortly thereafter, the phone's left.
Right. Would that be do you think that's more of an accident, or I don't
I
did it
think-
on purpose?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, because there was 3 quick phone calls made that didn't make sense. In that same time frame, the phone's left. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much
Kind of
into
have
it.
to wonder if a younger
Well,
child
she
got a
was-
hold of the phone.
Well, and also she wasn't dialing appropriately. Maybe it was the kid, maybe it wasn't, but she left her phone right on the side there.
Right. Right. Who knows if she set it down just for a second and, didn't think to pick it back up. Who knows what kind of state she was in, because she's already been seen driving erratically and dangerously. Who knows?
But at this point, what we know is that there's no phone.
There's no more phone, no
Yeah.
more contact with Diane at this point. 5 minutes later, 1:15, Warren Hance calls, but the phone goes to voicemail. About a dozen other calls go to her voicemail in the next 20 minutes. And Adam,
are
I'm going to
paying.
hand that back to you.
The family had actually tried calling the police to see if they could track her phone at this time. And because she had left it, there was no way to trace the phone.
From this point, I think she is in a different part of the state. Is she not?
Well, I think she's in the Mount Pleasant area.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this is sometime after 1:30 p.m. Schuler takes a right turn from Pleasantville Road onto the exit ramp from the Teutonic State Parkway, heading the wrong way. So she drives southbound in the northbound traffic for 1.7 miles, forcing more than a dozen motorists to swerve out of the way. So she's going the wrong way on a highway.
At this time, there were
Oh,
phone
God.
calls coming in like crazy to 911,
So did she get
reporting a woman driving on the wrong side of the road.
So she got on the exit ramp and went the wrong way.
Right, correct.
Yep.
Correct. She got on the exit going the wrong way, so she's heading on to traffic. She's heading heading in directly into traffic.
Oh, no bueno.
Yeah, so after 1.7 miles at 1:35 p.m., the minivan smashes head-on into a sport utility vehicle carrying 3 Yonkers men to a family party. What was the name of the family? They were the
There were 2 families.
Bastardi.
And there was another one. Because 2 of them
Another
were
man, I think his
related.
last name was
Where did they live?
Luongo, maybe?
They were in New York. Everyone lived in New York.
Well, like where in New York? Like where did
Oh.
Diane live?
Oh, that's
They
a good
lived in
question.
I believe Staten Island or
Was
in
it
that area.
Staten Island?
I
Yeah,
think so.
you're right.
I think
You're
so.
right. I'm looking for the family in the tracker. I think that got hit. Was it the tracker? Okay, so there were three vehicles involved. Diane was driving a 2003 Ford Windstar, and then there was a 2004 Chevy Trailblazer and a 2002 Chevy Tracker involved as well. The van traveled south for 1.7 miles in the Parkway's northbound passing lane before colliding head-on at approximately 1:35 with a 2004 Chevy Trailblazer, which then struck a 2002 Chevy Tracker.
Right, there were 3
is what
vehicles
happened.
Yep.
involved.
Okay, there were 3 men in the Trailblazer: 81-year-old Michael Bastardi and his 49-year-old son Guy, and their friend 74-year-old Dan Longo.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for clarifying that, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm glad I brought that up.
2 minutes later, at 1:37 p.m., state police told by the Hens family that Schuler may have been having a medical emergency. So this kind of touch on what you're saying, Sarah.
Yeah.
So they're thinking kind of the same thing.
It's sort of weird because when you look up the distance from the campground to presumably Staten Island, where they lived, it's bizarre, mainly because it only takes like a little over 2 hours, like we were talking about earlier. Why is this 4 hours later?
Well, because what ended up happening is, I think after the Tappan Zee Bridge.
Did they live on Staten Island?
No, they didn't live on Staten Island. They lived about 40 minutes away.
Okay.
So what should have taken her 40 minutes to get home took her 4 hours.
That's right. I remember hearing about this on the documentary.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out where they lived before. This is really something we should
So
have
like,
looked
why
up.
was she trying to head down there though?
She was just driving
great
all over the
question.
place. That's the thing.
Right,
She wasn't heading
right,
home.
Right.
She
Why
wasn't.
was
She wasn't heading home.
doing
She was
this?
just driving all over the place.
Right. She was supposed to be, go to McDonald's, feed the kids, and then go home
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
camping. And then
Yeah.
what should have taken her 40 minutes was 4 hours.
See, that's the problem. And then after this accident, I think within a couple of days later, they did an autopsy. Right, Sarah?
Yep.
Well, do you know anything about that?
Yes. Her
They lived in West Babylon.
West.
Wait a minute. Things go weird, I would imagine, at around 10:58. I'm sorry.
Can you elaborate?
Like, why would they be heading south? Isn't where they live north of the campground or south?
I'm trying to figure that out right now.
I mean, all that I saw was that she was just driving all over the place.
Dead airspace, yay. Wow, Jesus. 1 hour and 7 minutes from West Babylon to Mount Pleasant, New York. And yes, they were on Long Island.
Yeah, so they lived on Long Island.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so what should have taken her an hour has now taken her 4 hours.
Okay.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the autopsy?
Yeah, she had enough vodka in her system for 10 drinks.
Well, one assumes vodka. Why?
Well, because after the crash had happened, the police had found a broken bottle of vodka in the vehicle.
In the vehicle. Okay. So that's where they get the idea that she was drinking vodka.
Yeah, her blood alcohol content was 0.19, with approximately 6 grams of alcohol in her stomach that had not yet been absorbed into her blood. The intoxication limit in New York State is 0.08, so she was just a little over twice the legal limit. And it also says in her autopsy report that she had a high level of THC in her system, and supposedly she could have smoked as recently as 15 minutes before the accident.
Yeah, but I heard those tests can be off. But that's either way. She had marijuana in her system. She had a lot of alcohol in her system.
Yeah, she was very intoxicated, is what it comes down to. You kind of have to wonder, was she in so much pain that she decided that taking a swig off of this bottle of liquor might make the pain go away a little bit, and maybe she just messed up and drank too much?
Well, the idea of the pain is because the family said that this was not something that Diane would have done, that she wasn't really a drinker.
Well,
but they came to the conclusion that she did have an abscessed tooth or something that was really bothering her. So that's where the pain thing comes from.
Yeah, and there were medical records to back that up.
Yeah.
I believe.
A lot of family members have seen her also, like, touching the side of her face. And
It's something that was really bothering her.
Yeah, it was. But they also said that, she would go to the dentist and have something done. But then, she had this abscess and she really was nervous or didn't want to go to the dentist. So she kind of ignored it.
Yep. I would do the same. I'm not a big fan of going to any medical anything, and I know I should, but, it is what it is.
But there's speculation to that's why maybe she did this. That's maybe why she asked for the
pain medication. Or maybe she just had a headache.
Right.
She may not have drank the night before, according to her husband, but maybe she had a headache from just the stress of dealing with kids and all the stuff going on. The family makes it out like she was this really prim and proper and perfect and very structured person. And everyone kind of painted this perfect image of Diane. So it's really interesting to see it's really interesting to see the results of the toxicology and the autopsy showing the levels of blood alcohol and the THC as it is.
Now, unfortunately, in this accident, we haven't even mentioned this yet. There's a lot of fatalities other than just the other people in the other cars. I think everybody in Diane's vehicle,
unfortunately,
except for the youngest. Not the youngest, the boy, her son Brian.
Wasn't he the youngest at the time, though?
No. She had her niece that was 2 years old with her also.
And she had a younger daughter, too, Erin, who was 2.
Not everyone died. Her 5-year-old son had survived.
Yep.
And, they tried getting information from him, and all he remembers is that mommy couldn't see, and then he went flying.
So he was saying that he heard mommy say that she couldn't see, that kind of a thing?
So he was ejected from the car?
He was ejected from
That's
the
how
car.
he survived,
That's
I'd
how
imagine.
he described the experience. Like,
wow.
Did he have any issues after that? A lot of therapy, a lot of...
he has...
He
does have a medical issue, but I don't recall what. I
think it was something with his eye. I think maybe
Something
I saw
with
something
his
like
eye,
that.
yes.
Now that you're saying that.
Yes, because they do special tests of, like, on the computer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Vision tests and stuff. Maybe strength tests. Hopefully that was 2009. Hopefully he's doing a lot better now. But so that's just another, unfortunate thing that there was only one person that survived from this accident, but fortunately he did.
2 men who witnessed the accident saw smoke rising out of the front of the van and ran over to assist. After removing Schuler from the van, the 2 men saw a large broken Absolute vodka bottle by the driver's side. The men tried to pull the girls out of the van and noted that they were already deceased because the children were possibly not seatbelted in and thrown together. The men didn't even notice that Brian, the 5-year-old at the time, was stuck underneath another dead child.
So he wasn't ejected.
Yeah. Brian was the only
Okay.
survivor of the accident.
I think some people were ejected.
Alright.
That might have been where you got that, but
Well, that's what his aunt said in the
that's
documentary.
right. Yeah, and a lot of times when these stories come out, the facts are just they're not. Rather, they're just the story doesn't come out correctly until it's been investigated. So that's probably where she got that
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah. The broken bottle by the driver's side. I think she was drinking just by being. Just look at the toxicology report.
well, she was obviously
Right.
drinking. I mean,
I want to play. I want to play devil's advocate and be like, no, maybe it was in the front seat when they were drinking, in the weekend, and that she just brought some stuff home and it was on the floor on the passenger side. But when the wreck happened, it flew over to the driver's side. But where was it on the driver's
Well,
side?
here's the thing, Jake.
You know
Is
what I
that
mean?
there's facts and then there's speculation. The fact is that she was a 0.19. Is that what?
Right.
She was a 0.19. That's
Which
a
is
fact.
Twice the legal limit.
That's very intoxicated. She had marijuana in her system. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
She did have a dental issue. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, you got a headache. You got a toothache. If it's that bad, you pull over. You call somebody, no matter what.
Yep.
Her family's, you watch a documentary, they're pretty upset. They would have went and picked her up. They
Oh,
would have went and figured
absolutely.
something out. I guarantee it, watching these people. So, it's weird. We had a weird incident that happened here in Maine not that long ago where a woman was holding her baby. And I don't know the story exactly, but she went out to the 95. This is out in Bangor. And she threw herself in front of a moving truck.
I remember reading
With her
about
baby?
this.
Right. So, this is speculation.
She had her son in her arm, and she was also pregnant.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, yeah, that's right. You're right.
And she just walked into oncoming traffic.
The
The child survived.
Right. So my thing, and thank you, because what I'm getting to here is that's a weird time to commit suicide and take a baby with you and another child with you. Could Diane and I'm speculating, maybe this was she was committing suicide. She's drinking, she's doing whatever she wants, and I'm gonna get good and loaded and just go the wrong way on the road. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is a possibility.
It is a possibility. I'm reading this as you guys are talking, and so I'm reading right from the Wikipedia page on the 2009 Teutonic State Parkway crash. The more I read, the more I really, I don't want to say it, but I think this is just an unfortunate case of this lady fucked up.
Yeah,
She made some bad decisions, and it really sucks because it killed 8 people, and it sucks. And yeah, when you listen to the family talk about her, she was supposedly this prim and proper, perfect mom and had everything lined up and had everyone organized and ran her shit. Just did it right, but unfortunately, she fucked up. Go ahead, and I'll find what I'm looking for here.
Maybe to them, she was perfect.
Right.
Because she would, take care of the kids and, take care of everyone else before herself. And just this day, it was so stressful or overwhelming that she just, maybe had that pain and had to, take care of it immediately and couldn't find the pain medication. And just she had a low moment.
Yep.
And she just didn't know how to handle it, because after years of taking care of children, you sometimes can reach your lows and feel stressed and not feel good.
So are you leaning towards the thought that she was having some kind of pain and that's why she drank? Is that what
Yeah.
you're thinking? That you're thinking that's how that went down? It was more of a pain issue more than
Yeah.
say I'm gonna, I'm taking everybody with me.
Yeah,
kind of a
because
thing?
if you're looking for pain medication and they don't sell it, and the only thing that's
You get it
available is vodka, and how you drink vodka, and enough for 10 drinks. How soon does it hit you?
So they found that was how much they found.
No, if she's drinking straight out of the bottle too.
Right, and it
you
was
know?
enough vodka for 10 drinks.
I think a
Right.
drink is 1 ounce. I think that's what it is.
Is it?
I think so. A drink is 1 ounce, I believe.
That 10 ounces is a lot. That's a. What is like a Poland Spring water bottle? Isn't that like a 14-ounce bottle or a
There's
12-ounce
different
bottle?
sizes.
12-ounce
The
bottles.
standard is a 12 ounce. Yeah.
Well, there's different sizes, but
Yeah.
the smallest
That's
is
a
12 ounce.
lot of vodka.
Right.
She almost drank.
But she
a
wanted
Poland
to
Spring
numb the
bottle.
pain. I
Yeah,
mean,
but that's a lot.
And you could drink that quick. I mean,
Yeah, you
just,
can.
I mean, it's
No,
nasty.
you're right.
But
You're right. You can, and I know people who have done it.
you
Now,
sure.
she
And
also,
I used to do it, but yeah.
She had also struggled with her weight. So maybe she was diabetic. I mean, are there any records on her going to the doctors?
You get a good point because the only thing we saw, I think, were dental records. on the
Dental
doc-
records,
Yeah, so
right.
we got nothing
so
on the medical.
could her, blood?
It's funny you bring that up. I'm actually looking at part of this right now. Diane Schuler and attorney Barbara believed that Schuler drove erratically due to a medical issue such as a stroke. According to Barbara, Schuler was obese for much of her life and suffered from diabetes, although additional sources cite Schuler as only having gestational diabetes, a temporary condition related to a prior pregnancy rather than a chronic condition. Barbara also mentioned that she had an abscess that had persisted in her mouth for 7 weeks before her death.
No, gestational diabetes is only when you're pregnant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
temporary, right?
And so it can also, after you have your kids, you can be, you can develop a history of being diabetic.
Oh, no
Your
way.
chances are higher if, you have gestational diabetes when you're pregnant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that kind of validates
Huh.
what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. So listen to this too. Just to kind of jump back a little bit on the vodka bottle thing. In an August 8th press conference, Daniel Schuler and his attorney Dominic Barbara initially denied that Diane did drugs or was drinking the weekend of the camping trip. Schuler then changed the story and consistently denied that his wife ever drank to excess or could have been drunk while driving. When Larry King and Oprah Winfrey asked Daniel about the vodka in the van, Daniel claimed that they had always kept an old bottle in their camper.
Okay, so, he's
so-
mixing his stories up.
Okay, well, number one, he's mixing his stories up, and number two, am I the only one that feels weird about leaving an old? I'm not calling it trash because everyone is 20 at one point and has a vodka bottle collection or like a liquor bottle collection, and even if it's only like 4 or 5, you get one and you're like, oh, I really like this bottle. But doesn't anyone else feel kind of weird about you keep an old empty vodka bottle in your camper where you're bringing your kids? I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me, but I'm not a parent. You know?
Wasn't it that he said something like they kept it in there for camping for the season? Did you hear something like that, Sarah?
Yes.
Where it was kind of, hey, you know what? Beginning of camping season, it's spring. We get maybe it's a big bottle of vodka. We're going to go camping, have campfires, kind of relax. I mean, you're not a fucking work. You're there to have a good time. So it's just, they made it sound like it's a casual thing like anybody would do, like I would do. I would do that, maybe sit by the fire, have a few drinks. I mean, you got kids, you're not getting hammered. Just have a few drinks, relax.
Right. I'm having a few drinks. I'm relaxing. And to me, it seems like I don't know how it got in the car. I have no clue. We don't really drink. I mean,
Okay, see, I guess I read it as like when I read old bottle, I assumed empty bottle, and in my head I read it as why would you keep an empty bottle of vodka in your camper?
No.
maybe it was an
I read
empty
it wrong.
bottle after the crash.
Yeah, but he
Ouch.
specifically said that in the documentary that, hey, you know what? We have a bottle. We don't go crazy. We have our kids, have a drink by the fire, relax, nothing wrong with that innocent shit, anybody does it.
Right.
I think
Right,
the
there's-
odd.
Sorry.
I think the odd thing is that like did they pack the vodka? You said it was like for the camper, but why? I understand why it was packed in the van. So it doesn't make sense. Like she either would have grabbed the vodka out of the back if she was stopped, or had one of the kids hand it to her because none of them were wearing seatbelts.
You bring up a good point because he said that, didn't he,
Wow,
Sarah?
Good point.
Didn't he say something like it's normally in the camper? I don't know why it was in the vehicle.
Right. So without him knowing, could she have put it in the vehicle? And, you know, like, how about just say, you know, I just don't know how it got there.
Right.
You know what? Maybe he's just saying that to make her sound like, oh, it never would have happened. It's always in there. But maybe it was this. Maybe it was as innocent as we're packing up to go home. This is the shit that goes in the house. The vodka bottle goes in the house. You know, if it's in the fucking camper, we can't drink it. It goes in the house with the dirty laundry, with the food, with the whatever's left over.
And it could have been one of those things too. Like when we went camping this summer, it could have been one of those things where it was just okay. It was sitting out on the table, or it was one of those last minute, I gotta grab this and throw it in a bag type of thing. Hey guys, how do you feel about a beer break?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds like you just cracked one open, so it's a perfect time for that. All right, we're back from beer break. What were we talking about, guys? We were talking about the vodka bottle. That's what it was, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, that sounds about right.
I also wanted to bring up a point here with that, kind of before we get into the vodka bottle thing. The whole thing that the kids weren't buckled in, that's just speculation. What is it? The first couple of witnesses said something that they may have seemed to have not been buckled in.
Yeah, I think they had stated that because the kids were all kind of piled up on each other in the wreck.
You also have to consider that, I mean, they're both going, you know, she's driving 70 miles per hour towards traffic that is coming at her 70 miles per hour.
Yeah. So
Right.
And, I mean, what's the force of that when they collide?
Right. And even if they're not going 70 because they see her coming at them and they're like, oh my God, stomp on the brakes and try to avoid her, there's still 70 miles an hour of 4,000-pound van with 8 occupants, or hold on, what, six or seven, however many. There's a lot of occupants in this van anyway.
Well, with all the
what I
vehicles
mean?
6
involved
in her
combined,
vehicle
Yeah.
and 3 in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they were, you know, swerving out of the way as they were seeing her, had said that she had a blank stare on her face as well. So, you know, what else could she have been thinking?
Right. That must be a scary thing to witness coming at you at 70.
Yeah. So,
What was her target?
yeah, what was she looking? I mean, what was happening? I mean, that's
Yeah.
the question of the night, I guess. Really.
That's the ultimate question of this whole case is what the hell happened? What was going through her head? The bottom line is she was intoxicated. But what put her at that point?
What made her drink? Well,
Right.
You know, you get pain. Maybe take a drink or two where you can still operate a vehicle. I mean, you shouldn't. I'm not
No,
gonna say
you
should do
definitely
that,
shouldn't.
but you could, and a lot of people do. I mean, realistically speaking, why not just have a couple of swigs and see what that does for you? And
Yeah,
if
like, okay, now let's just be real. You can have a shot and still operate machinery perfectly.
well, realistically, yeah. for
unless
most
you're
people,
like
yeah.
unless you're 5 years old and you're 40 pounds, which if you're 5 years old, why are you drinking alcohol anyway? That's already not good. But one shot is not going to affect you to the point where you cannot operate a machine. But she had twice the legal limit. Obviously, that's not one shot.
Right, but what I'm saying is, why not just have 1 or 2 shots? Why drink so much if you're looking to dull the pain? I mean, you're not looking to get completely smashed. Why would you drink that much alcohol?
Well,
if you're
why
looking to
did-
just dull the pain and continue on, you would just take a couple of drinks.
Now, her husband had said maybe she had thought it was water.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, an absolute vodka bottle is glass, isn't it?
Yeah, but it reminds me of the Cheech and Chong movie where they're in court and I can't remember if it's Cheech or Chong. He grabs the glass from the judge, and he thinks it's water, takes a sip, and spits it out, and goes, "It's fucking vodka, man." It just, you would fucking take that sip and be like, "Holy shit." You just would.
Yeah.
You're smoking some Labrador.
But you know what I mean, though? You would take that as soon as it hits your lips, you'd be like, "What the fuck?" And you would just. So I don't know, maybe. But if she had a medical condition, if there was, I think they said there was no sign of a stroke or anything like that, so you could rule that out. I think they said that during the autopsy, didn't they?
Okay, before we get too far from that thought though about the vodka, how come we can't, or how come she didn't just stop at another gas station and try to get pills for whatever pain she was in? Because she made the stop at one gas station and asked for gel caps.
Was it Advil? Was it Tylenol? Because the gel caps usually seem to take care of any.
Yeah, faster.
Right. And they work faster, and isn't that their gimmick?
Yep. Well, gimmick, and it's true.
Yeah, and yes, they do work faster, at least in my experience too.
Especially with a toothache.
But why didn't she stop at another gas station? Is that the dogs?
Yeah.
That's the dogs.
Yeah.
The dogs are howling.
For you podcast listeners, the dogs are barking in the background. They might hear us. I said it's like 50-something outside, so doors open.
So anyways, yeah.
Or maybe Dino's trying to harass them through the window.
Something's going on, but...
I hate how he goes over there and harasses the dogs, but won't come say hi to us. We invite him on the podcast so much, and he's like, "Nope, I'm going to go harass the fucking dogs."
Scratching at the window.
Fucking rude ass. I don't like him. Dino, we're not friends anymore.
As far as the marijuana goes, though, I mean, the family said what'd they say? The first they said she didn't smoke marijuana. Then they said, well, maybe sometimes at night. And then it turned into to relax.
And then it turned into to help with insomnia.
The fact is, you know what? It's 2009. A lot of people smoke marijuana to relax, especially when they go camping.
Even in 2009.
I'm just wondering, did she smoke a joint while at her stops, or was it, is she someone who smokes marijuana every night, and it just so happened to be that, okay, she had this much marijuana?
The husband says no. He says that it's just every once in a while kind of thing. But I think he kind of tries to make her sound a little bit better than she is. She's a good person. I don't doubt that she's a good person.
No one's doubting that she's a good person, because when you listen to the family talk about her in media coverage, and there was a whole documentary about her, when you listen to them talk about her, she seemed like she was very on top of things. Her kids were always dressed impeccably. They were really, really intelligent kids. She had everything scheduled. She was on top of everything. So we're not saying that she's a bad person.
No, and it would explain why they want to defend her, because the media
is vicious.
They painted her as an alcoholic. They painted her as someone who, smokes or does drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not what the family wanted her or people to think of her. They didn't want her to look at as if she was just this horrible mother, as they were,
They didn't want that to be her legacy.
Yeah.
And I believe that probably wasn't her legacy. In 2009 and then 2018, I don't feel like maybe there's a lot of different things about how we live now, but I still feel like that was a pretty acceptable thing to do back then. And you know what? You have a couple drinks when you're camping, you might smoke a joint. That's cool. You know what I mean? Or even if you use it medically, that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, Jake, what do you tell us? What do you think happened that day? What happened?
I think she made a bad choice, personally. I think she made a bad choice. She very clearly was intoxicated. Toxicology levels don't lie. Or toxicology reports, excuse me. They don't lie. When you're twice the legal limit of alcohol and you're operating a car, it's not good. And on top of that, you got 5 kids in the back with you. It's not good. You shouldn't be doing it. I think she fucked up and unfortunately cost 8 people their lives. And it's not okay, but it's not... don't paint her like a the worst person on earth. Don't paint her as if she's a horrible, horrible mom and she's like the worst person on earth, because there are so many. That's not the answer. Unfortunately, I think her family needs to kind of just accept that it was a mistake. It's a very unfortunate, shitty mistake.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what it is. I mean, Sarah, what would you say? What's your how do you take this? I mean, because you actually coming into this, you hadn't known anything about the story until you came to the shed, really. So you're kind of, this is new to you. What would you? How do you hack it up?
Like, what's my take on it?
Yeah. What do you think happened?
When you have like a pain like that, like, I don't know about you, but like I've been in that kind of pain where you want to do whatever you need to get rid of it. Like, it's like pulling your hair, hitting your head against the wall, like that kind of pain. Like,
So you think the pain made her drink that much?
I'd say so. I used to get double ear infections constantly, and that sucks.
Now, why don't you think that she didn't call someone, though?
She wasn't thinking of it.
I think with her history, just to add on to your point, I think with her history of always having things in order and always being the person that keeps things in check, I think maybe she had, it sounds kind of stupid, but maybe she had a little too much pride in herself to admit that she needed some help
She
and
felt
just to
that she
reach
was-
out.
She could handle it.
Yeah.
She could
Right.
take care of the situation.
Right.
And she could make it home safely. And
Right.
So you're taking it as she just, trying to kill the pain, and she was going to make it home regardless, and maybe she drank a little too much, didn't realize how much she drank in order to remedy this pain.
I'd ultimately say it was, pressure from physical pain, and then just mitigating her own situation, managing 5 children. Like, they can be well-behaved children, but it's still 5 children to manage.
Right.
Like, that's a thing. Like, 5 children of any type, like of any kind of like kid, like any combination of 5 children, it's a lot to handle.
Yeah, you're talking to 2 parents here. They definitely.
Even if you have 2 and you have 2 dogs, it takes it to another level, because you have the responsibilities of being a parent, and you also have the responsibility and needs of your animals too.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think happened?
I think that she had just a moment of weakness. She, like Jake said, she didn't want to admit that she needed the help, but really she needed to stop and have someone help.
And so what are you saying, that she had pain? Are you going with the story that maybe she had a toothache, or that?
I think there was something bothering her. There was definitely something bothering her, because, why would someone go to a store, ask for a certain type of pain medication, not be able to have it, and then, the nearest thing to her was vodka. It's proof.
Yeah, I mean, if it's there, you're gonna take it.
And it's been proven that, she did decide to drink.
Yeah.
She, was the perfect mother. But this day, she had a moment of weakness. She slipped up. She screwed up. And she ultimately ended up, going the wrong way.
Yeah.
It led her to going in the wrong direction. And it took the lives of 8 people.
Yeah. I generally agree with that. I watched watched the show, kind of did some reading online, and yeah, I mean, the general consensus is that, she was a good person, but even good people make mistakes, and she probably was a perfect person, even maybe up until this point in her life. But those last few hours of her life, for some reason, she had something to drink. The marijuana thing, I'll be honest, I don't know. Maybe she smoked in the morning before she took off. I don't fucking know. But either way, yeah, I think she was probably some reason she felt the need to drink and not stop when she realized that she was as intoxicated as she was and contact somebody for help, or for some reason she continued to drive, and unfortunately it led to this catastrophic accident.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Well, and it would kind of explain, like, you're diabetic, and did she eat anything at McDonald's?
Can
So if
diabetics
she-
even eat McDonald's?
Well, I'm just
shouldn't.
wondering if,
Yeah, I didn't- I
if she didn't eat anything and she immediately had some vodka.
Either
Yeah.
way,
On
either
top
way,
of
if you
being
have
a
10
diabetic.
drinks, have food in your stomach, don't have food in your stomach, diabetic, not a diabetic, anybody has 10 drinks, they're going to be feeling pretty good. I
They
mean,
are feeling pretty
yeah.
good, but also on top of being diabetic, I mean, you get
it
a high blood
intensified it.
sugar.
That
You
abscess
are
could have been
to the point
infected.
where maybe you could potentially black out.
That might explain the, that you can't see.
What did you just mentioned the abscess?
What if it was infected?
That's a good question. What
Like-
would that do?
I mean, that's the thing, though, is that even a small cut can turn into something really bad for a diabetic. Like, it can actually turn into very fatal, like,
Yeah.
infections.
Right. So
Yeah.
if she had
And
an
inside-
abscess,
Inside the mouth,
Yeah.
yikes.
And intensified by the alcohol.
That is
Right.
extreme pain. If the abscess was infected.
Well,
I think
think
we kind of chalked it up, huh,
I
Jake?
think we've cracked this case. Not necessarily cracked it, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think we've covered this pretty well.
Yeah. Why don't you send us away? What's our? Why don't you give us our plug here for our social media?
Oh, Jesus. Keep talking for 30 seconds while I pull that up.
Yeah. Okay.
We can even sing the Jeopardy theme song. Do, 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 do. Come on, you guys.
Well,
sing
what's our
with me.
email here? It's sftspodcast@gmail.com.
Well, I'm more offended that you didn't want to sing with me, but hold on. I'm working with it, asshole. Our email. Okay, here we are. Our Gmail. You guys, please email us. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit sad. We don't get any emails. Most emails I get are from you sending me information for, oh, check this out. This will be a cool episode. Or, oh, check this timeline out. Or, oh, watch this video. I'm cool with that too, but you know what I mean. Our Gmail, sftspodcast@gmail.com for people with iPhones, the iPhone Master Race. Same thing. Twitter is @StoriesFromShed. Instagram is Stories from the Shed Podcast. And our Facebook is Stories from the Shed. You want to take us out of here?
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem.
You guys have a nice week. Bye.
Yeah.